Hey guys, how you doing? I just wanted to do a little update. So I'm driving at the moment, but let me throw this update out there. So KR asked earlier on if I could do a nice little analysis or something, right? Which is fine. I mean, this is technically, well, we can say a little bit of an analysis, but he just mentioned something just right now, as soon as I was about to press record on my screen capture. He mentioned about inflation, and I want to talk about inflation, right? I didn't read the full message, but I want to talk about inflation as well, because a lot of people have been asking me. In fact, I've been kind of busy running around, traveling a little bit, but actually traveling due to work, meeting some of the clients, because everybody's concerned about the interest rate going up, and also the current situation with inflation, right? We all know cryptocurrency is a hedge against inflation, right? You know, that's what everybody comes to know of cryptocurrency as. Well, that's how we've been promoting cryptocurrency so far. And this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I just wanted to say this to you. I just want to put it out there, right? So everyone talks about inflation. Everyone talks about how, you know, cryptocurrency is the hedge against inflation. True, right? That's the reality. That's what has been told about it. But remember one thing I mentioned before as well. Bitcoin was intended to be an independent cryptocurrency, which is not governed by any centralized organizations or XYZ, right? That's the main fact. Everything else is what people have said, their own opinions. In my, this is my personal opinion as well. That's what people have said, right? That it's against inflation. It's got nothing to do with inflation. Let's put it this way, right? Inflation itself has a part, but not as we think it is. You know, when people say hedge against inflation, well, they're not really explaining what it really means. What it really means is that when your money, your currency, your country starts inflating and starts printing more and more money, the Bitcoin itself, because it doesn't change in its value. Remember, one Bitcoin is worth one Bitcoin, and your country's currency is going up and down. Then you will see that Bitcoin gives you more, and your money doesn't lose power, right? Because your money can lose power. So for example, if you had a pound in your bank today, and a bottle of milk was a pound, then tomorrow if it's inflated, then your pound wouldn't buy you a bottle of milk, because it could be inflated by 10%. That means that now the bottle of milk costs £1.10, but you only have £1 in your bank. However, if you had a pound in Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin was just sitting there, and when the 10% inflation happened, your Bitcoin is also worth a £1.10p. So now you could very well go and buy that bottle of milk for the same amount of money. That's how it was designed to work, right? Or how it became to be. So it's a hard one. I mean, a lot of what people would say, well, this is a hedge against inflation. We're going to jump into this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. No, there's a positive aspect. And the positive aspect of that is that, yes, when your currency is being inflated, BTC being itself, it just stays there, and the currency value shows up as more. So let's give you a good example of this, right? When we talk about currency, recently I've noticed that the USD is stronger against the pound. What does that mean? It means that $1 gives you more pounds, or the opposite is £1 gives you less USD, right? So now we know USD is getting stronger by the day, right? In fact, recently, a few weeks ago, we went as high as 85 pence per dollar. And that's crazy, right? And also, if you look at euro and dollar, currently they're both almost equally the same. They're like 1-to-1 ratio, almost, I would say, right? So let's leave that there. But that's what's happening right now. But I'm not really concerned too much about inflation, because inflation is easy, right? Inflation is very easy to deal with if you're in crypto. Let's not even bother about that, right? Because we're already in crypto. If inflation comes in, mega inflation, hyperinflation, whatever you want to call it, stagflation, right? Whatever you want to call it. Ultimately, anybody who's in crypto is not going to be impacted. Ultimately, their balances will look like they've benefited. But the truth is, they really haven't done anything. It's just basically it's going to show up differently. Now, what we should be worried about is the interest rates. Right? Interest rates is very important, because that causes a bit of a situation, right? Let's call it some sort of how do we call it? Like a black hole, right? A black hole. Let's call it a black hole. Now, the situation there is one of those catch-20 situations. People might think, oh, if we put it into crypto, we might actually be better off. Well, very well, you might be better off. but you need capital during a high interest hike, which could lead to a recession. You need cash. Cash is king. Without cash, you can't buy anything. So you say, okay, I've bought it. Well, you've bought it, now what? People need to sell and get the money out. So ultimately, it's one of those catch-22 situations that some people will be okay, let's save it into crypto. Other people will be taking it out of crypto because cash is king. Because at that time, everything will crash or whatever will happen. Things will be cheaper and you need cash. Cash is king. So someone recently asked me, and I traveled because of this as well, and they asked me, they said, look, I've got a whole bunch of cash. Is it going to be possible, like, so they're asking me, they're saying, if we into a recession and banks collapse, would I lose my money? And the answer is yes, you will lose your money. Not because the bank's gone, because the banks are not going to be able to pay. They're going to prevent a bank run, right? So if a bank run is prevented, means you can't take that cash out. So what do you have to do now, right? So my advice to them is, look, you got two choices. One, you invest it into crypto right now as a hedge against interest, not inflation, or basically you take the cash out into actual physical money. Right? So then if there is a bank run, at least you have your cash in hand to do whatever you want. Now, when things crash, is there an opportunity? Absolutely. There's going to be masses of opportunities happening for people who can afford to. So people who are prepared, who have the cash on the side, will be easily able to go and pick up businesses, buildings, land, you name it, so many different types of asset for very cheap. Because when panic sets in, it's going to be insanity, right? It's going to be complete craziness in the markets. That's what's going to happen. Because remember, there's very few people who are cool, calm, and collected, right? Who understand that, look, this is what's happening, who are preparing for it. There are very few people. Others are just going to wait for the news to break out on your BBC or your Sky News to tell you what's going on, and then panic sets in, right? So that's what's going to happen. So just stay calm, be prepped, right? Crypto's not the answer to everything. We need to be real, right? Bullishness is one thing. We're bullish about being in crypto, absolutely. We're bullish about making a shit ton of money in crypto, absolutely. But then there's a limit to how bullish we can be, because at the same time, as I said, it's like one of those catch-22 situations. Like, yes, it's good in some form and it's bad in the other, because there's going to be this kind of, how would I say this, situation where you do something, but then there's going to be a negative reaction to it as well from another side of the market. So you need to be very cautious how you basically proceed with this. Now, one thing I will say, and this is not a financial advice, if you are buying crypto right now, right, as I am, as many other people are, we're buying crypto as much as we can, right? And I'll talk a little bit more about this as well. People are buying crypto just because they want to buy crypto. Nothing to do with inflation, nothing to do with interest rates, right? Sole reason is because we know we've got another Bitcoin halvening coming very soon. Also, not too long after that, we've also got an Ethereum halvening coming as well. And don't forget, we've already got the Ethereum 2.0 launch date, or not confirmed, but it's going to come by the end of this year. I mean, they have a date like September, but it could easily be October, November, December. It doesn't matter, right? Ultimately, it's coming. Now, we know we're going to have a massive pump in Ethereum because of this, and the Ethereum founders or the developers have actually done something quite good, where they've they created a prevention method where people are not able to just dump and just take their F out, right, after they've made all that money. So a lot of good measures have been taking place. And but remember, 2024, approximately May, so the month of May, so we know that we haven't got that long, we've got approximately 2 years. We do have a halvening coming, and a lot of the halvening prices that we're going to see, or a pump towards that thing, is going to be priced in right now. All right, so bear in mind, this is all going to be priced in right now. Now, I want to move back to history a little bit as well. So I know you've got a chart here. I will talk about the chart as well. Now, if you remember, about 10-11 months ago, I made a video and I talked about the lengthening cycle, diminishing returns, and I spoke about scenarios. I spoke about 3 specific scenarios that if this happens, then that would happen. We mentioned how the market could be starting to tank down around January. It happened. We mentioned how if we fail to get up in March, then we could expect to see it around September. And funnily, September is on target because look, we're in August, we're not far off, and we are seeing the market starting to move up. Now, if you do look at the chart right now, you can see that I have these colored lines, right? So you can see how we've got the blue line, the green line, the purple line, and the red line. Now, let me explain the lines to you. The blue line is a 21-day moving average, and you can see we've been above the 21-day for almost 2 weeks now, just over 2 weeks now. We've been above that, which is a very, very good sign that the market wants to move up, right? So we know the trend is positive. The trend is coming up. We are creating these lower highs, absolutely fine. Now, when you start looking at the green line, that's the 200-day moving average, and guess what, we're above that at this present moment. Again, brilliant, this is good, but that's not what we're looking forward to right now. We don't care about the 200-day right now. We don't even care about the 50-day moving average, which is the red line. We don't care about those. What we care about is that 100-day moving average that we can see, which is a purple line. Now, if we can close that gap a little bit, right, just close that gap a little bit and somehow get to that 100-day, test it at least, and which is the 26,000. It's not that far. We've already tested the 24,000 something. I think we can go there and we can do this. Now, if you look on the bottom of the chart, you can see at the 17,585 was the low, and we've created a strong support around that figure. So from the 17,500 to 18,500, there's a lovely little support, very strong support created. Now, we know everything's good. If we did come down, then that's the level we were looking at. So if I did want to see the market come back to test the bottoms again, that would definitely be the levels we would test and then shoot up. Of course, we could wick down, who cares, doesn't matter, but that's the worst case scenario. So far, the chart is telling us everything is positive, right? On the daily, when we start looking at the stochastic RSI, the RSI is telling us it's okay. Yes, maybe it's a little bit, going sideways, I would say, but it's good, it's positive. On the 3-day charts, I might be able to show you if I can stop the car, but on the 3-day charts, what you will notice is, yes, it's showing a little bit overbought, but absolutely fine. Again, we are testing that 21 on the 3-day, right? The moving average, 21 moving average on the 3-day, which technically means it's a 63-day moving average, right? Let's just put it that way. So it's easier for us to calculate. Now, that's what's happening. So far, so good. Everything to me is looking positive, and we are absolutely on track for September. Now, what have I been doing right now? So I want to go back to that point where everyone's being prepared. So for me, I've been going around basically trying to get as much work as possible with my consulting business and this and that. Now, it's not the best. You don't really get all the top clients, but however, it's not bad. You know, the way I do it, I'm getting enough. So I've got enough jobs, absolutely fine. At the same time, I'm also trying to do anything else possible in the market so I can go and get some more extra pennies, right? Because remember, the Satoshis do matter. A lot of people don't understand this. So we need to get as many Satoshis right now. This is your accumulation phase. This is your buy the dip phase. There is no other dip. This is the dip. Now, we did confirm that the market, we were expecting to go down even further. However, because of what Elon Musk did in the first quarter, we already know that that story's over. We've hit the bottom. Now this is it, all right? Because that changed the story, that changed the analysis, everything. So we are ready, we are moving up. September's around the corner, and we are going to start seeing a move. Maybe we might see a mini bull run. We don't know yet, but ultimately, whatever the case is, you're not going to get these bottoms again. And even if we did dip down even a little bit, absolutely fine, no harm at all, right? So I'm not focusing on the news. I'm not focusing on any nonsense that comes out in this market. All I am currently focused on, right, is the fact that the market trend looks up. You can see on the chart clearly, and let me make it larger for you. Sorry, I'm just driving and doing this, guys. Shouldn't be, but yeah, let me show you. So you can see how we've started creating these higher lows. I mean, some people could say technically from the bottom on a shorter time frame, they are higher highs. Absolutely, you can say that. However, over the bigger picture of everything coming down from 69k, this is definitely a higher low, right? So let's just keep it that way. And yeah, I mean, everything looks positive, as I said. Now, each target that we break, each area that we take away, it's just going to be better, bigger, and stronger. Of course, we want to create supports as well. So far, we only have one area of support, as you can see on the daily, where it's marked with that aqua color around the 17,500 to 18,500. That's the only support we have made on the daily. We want to make a few more supports if we can. So yeah, I mean, if we can climb up a little bit and then maybe get rejected, it's absolutely fine. But I think that 100-day is the key right now. If we can test that 100-day, I think we're on a good track. So we're going to wait for this and see where it goes. Also, I wanted to quickly drop this on the weekly. We are definitely showing indications that we want to move up. The stochastic RSI and the RSI. Well, RSI kind of going sideways, but the stochastic RSI is definitely showing us indications that the market wants to move up. So we know there's going to be some momentum to take the market up. However, volume is key. And at this present moment, we're not seeing enough volume, so that is something to be concerned about, but I wouldn't be too concerned, right? You know, ultimately structure is what we're looking at, and the structure is telling us that we are definitely on a upward momentum, upward trend. So I hope all of this was okay. I know I spoke very fast, and I know part of the video that you watched, the audio quality may not have been the best. I'm really sorry about that, but I was driving about 70 miles an hour. Right now I'm driving about 20 miles an hour. However, you know, I do apologize, right? So I hope this was helpful, and remember what I'm saying to you. And this is just my opinion, by the way, guys. None of this is financial advice. Remember, I'm here just for entertainment, nothing else, right? Inflation is not the problem. Okay, let's keep this in mind. Inflation is not the problem, right? You know, inflation, it doesn't impact us. What does impact us is the interest rates and everything, and all the panic that would set in because of that. Remember this, right? So these are things we need to really worry about. Right now, I'm concerned about what's happening with the interest, because if that's the case, then a recession is 100% on the horizon. We are definitely going to see that. I mean, even though now we might already be in a recession, but remember one thing: the top boys, the top dogs, or whatever you want to call them, when they are going to confirm that we're in a recession, we've already been in it. Remember, they're gonna tell us right at the end, just before we come out. So the news is gonna come to us late. Right now, I believe we're already in a recession. The markets are already, you know, they're trying to accumulate as much. And when I say they, I'm talking about the governments and all the banks and everything. They're trying to take as much money. Like, for example, they've made mortgages very easy for people. They've made housing very easy for people. They're literally giving away housing to people who are on benefits in the UK. That's hilarious, right? Who would do that? But they would do that in a recession because they want you to take on the debt, so that debt can generate more funds, and the more funds they can generate, hopefully they can then pay back the debt that they've already got. So that's the way they're trying to, because there's money out there but money's not being spent. All right, and if there is money being spent, then there's not enough money out there. So you see what I mean? So it's one of those kind of situations, like, there's no winning, and that's the reason why we're going into this recession. Because if interest rates go up, if inflation comes in, and if wages are balanced as well, so wages also increase, people are in job, then people spend. So then you have money being printed, but money also being spent. Right now, money is being printed, but money's not being spent because people are, the income, the wages are not balanced out. They didn't increase along with inflation. And that, my friends, if you go and check on Google or wherever you want to go and check on Wikipedia, you can see that is a definition of a recession. Right now, we have already entered a recession, so you should be prepared. And remember, cash is king. Your bank is not going to hold your funds. Banks could collapse at this present moment. We could see a Lehman Brothers thing. Also, last one I wanted to quickly add on to this as well. Remember, Bitcoin was created before the last, after the last situation in 2008 with the Lehman Brothers, right? We're talking about this. It was created in order to counter or whatnot. That's the excuse that was given anyway. But look, we have something that we know which is technically fungible, and there's a lot of things we can do. So yes, this is the first time Bitcoin will be tested for exactly what the excuses were given that it was built for. Right, so we are going to be testing this right now, and I've got a good feeling Bitcoin is going to hold up very well. I'm not sure about gold and this and that, because remember, unless you've got physical gold, paper gold is just manipulated anyway. Paper silver is manipulated. So I'm not going to fuss too much about those stuff. but opportunities are going to be open for people who are ready. Remember this. So other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was informative. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're doing. If you have subscribed, then guess what? My videos are not frequent. I do my best, but what you'll get is just complete honesty from my side, my opinions, nothing else. No financial advice, of course. And you do your own research. Most importantly, if I'm saying something wrong, come back to me, tell me that I said something wrong, right? I'd really appreciate your feedback. Leave your comments below. And other than that, I'll see you on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos.